All right, we are live, ladies and germs. Yes, we are live for an episode of Burnt Rubber. Because, figure why the fuck not? Why don't we just make this a live show instead? Instead of trying to go through all the usual shit of editing and it's just such a massive pain in the ass. But, well, one of the reasons why we're doing a live version this time around is because there is a lot to talk about as we are 3 hours away from the new year, and for the final episode of Burnt Rubber for 2024, wanted to talk about some stuff, and there's a lot to unpack. So let's go ahead and get started with this episode, this first ever live edition of Burnt Rubber. This video is brought to you by Reaper Apparel Company. Stay tuned until after the video to learn how you can save 10% off of your order. Some states have Hey, what's happening, ladies and germs? This is the PackerMan, and welcome to our first ever live edition of Burnt Rubber. There is a lot of shit to talk about tonight in regards to what's been going on the last couple weeks. I haven't had an episode of Burnt Rubber in about a month, mainly because I've been sick most of this month, which is also one of the reasons why there wasn't that much content until last week, because I was under the weather, and that type of thing always sucks, to say the least. But got some stuff going on, and getting set for the new year 2025. But before we get into things, one of the things I do want to point out, we did lose over the past 2 months, we did lose a couple of NASCAR legends, Bobby Allison, and more recently Fearless Freddie Lorenzen passed away. Bobby Allison was 86, I believe, and Fred Lorenzen was 89. So they lived very long lives, to say the least. And it's great that Bobby finally got that 85th win that he had, long been seeking. And I think I think it was just the fact that once he finally got closure, he was like, "Yeah, I'm ready to go." It's kind of one of those things. It's always weird how it happens too, because it was literally weeks after he finally got credited with that 85th win. So rest in peace to both Bobby Allison and Fred Lorenzen, two all-time greats in the NASCAR world. So we're 3 hours from the new year. And we've got some shit to talk about to kind of close out the new year. So, what do you say we get started with things, shall we? So, first thing we're going to talk about is NASCAR championship results and my opinions on said championships. Because, well, let's be completely honest here. You can make the argument that all three champions were not the correct champions. You know, in spite of the fact that, you know, all of us, you know, pretty much wanted Justin Allgaier to win the Xfinity Series title, but, you know, one thing at a time. So, Craftsman Truck Series Championship. Wasn't there supposed to be a fourth in here? Oh, they're pretty much all at the top. So, your championship four was Ty Majeski, Corey Heim, Christian Eckes, and Grant Enfinger. And Ty Majeski pretty much dominated the race. I mean, that race was just fucking boring as shit. And, I mean, he led 132 of the race's 150 laps and ended up winning the championship. But if you look at the full season standings, it should have been Christian Eckes that won this championship. I mean, he would have won it by a wide fucking margin. In the full season standings, he would have won by 100 points. Whereas Ty Majeski would have ended up third in the points, 194 back. And yet Christian Eckes didn't even make the championship. Well, actually, he did make the championship four, but he was third because that 98 truck was just way too strong at Phoenix. Then we get to Xfinity, and this one was by far the craziest out of all three championship races. Because, I mean, this went in so many different directions. Because Justin Allgaier, he ended up winning this championship. And he actually ended up going 2 laps down because he fucked up in the middle of the race. And I think got a restart violation and then a speeding penalty. And a lot of us thought, well, that's pretty much it for his championship again. But give him credit where credit is due. He never gave up. Came back through. Probably would have won this race, but Riley Herbst was like, I'm going to send this guy, you know, because it's like, you know, what a dumb fuck. I mean, yeah, Riley Herbst ended up winning the race. He led 167 laps, but I mean, it's like, I mean, you're a dumb fuck. Because you were willing to take out a guy trying to go for a championship just to get the win. It's just like, this is what I've been talking about when, you know, there's no respect amongst drivers anymore. Because you got all these, you know, young rich punks that think they own the fucking sport when the fact of the matter is they need a swift kick in the fucking teeth. So Justin Allgaier ended up winning the championship. Was Chandler Smith full time in the truck series? Hold on, I need to double check something here. No, it's Christian Eckes. Yeah, okay. Duh. I was like, wait a minute. That doesn't seem right. Never mind. We're good. So Justin Allgaier ended up winning the championship. Cole Custer finished 8th and ended up runner-up in the championship. And then AJ Allmendinger ended up 3rd, and Austin Hill ended up 4th. AJ did jack fuck all this year. He ended up 6th in the championship. Austin Hill was 4th in the championship. Chandler Smith would have won the championship by 7 points. And that's the other frustrating thing about this, because you had that whole thing at Martinsville between Chandler Smith and Cole Custer. And if we had the full season format, it would have gone down to those two at Phoenix, with the bad blood that they had, and that would have been one hell of a storyline. You know what I mean? This is what I'm talking about when, you have this fucking stupid playoff format just taking away from potential storylines that, feel a lot more organic than this bullshit that we see in NASCAR with this playoff format. But we have another case of a driver who ended up winning the championship, but he should have finished 3rd in overall points. Although this one, you could probably say was a little more deserved because he was only 23 points out, whereas Ty Majeski was over 3 full races behind. So, I mean, if a couple of things change here, there, or anywhere in Allgaier's favor, then he could very easily win the championship, as far as full season is concerned. Of course, under the Winston Cup format, he would have finished 6th, but, Under this points format, though, where it's like 1 point per position and the stage points and all that shit, he would have ended up 3rd, but he would have only been 23 back. So, I think we could probably cut him a little bit of slack, even though, But then we get to the Cup side of things, and it's just, I mean, y'all already know my feeling on this shit. Championship 4 was Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, and Tyler Reddick. Christopher Bell ended up leading the most laps at 143. And one thing I will say is that out of all 4 Logano's victories this year, this one was probably the most legit. This is one where we could say, this is one where we could say, it was a good win. Because he did lead 107 laps. But 1 out of 4 is only a 25% average. And of course, there's the fact that he would have finished 12th in overall points, 273 behind Kyle Larson. I've already made my feelings known about that, but there was something else that I guess happened that kind of irritated me. Because Joey Logano apparently afterwards was bitching and complaining about fans saying, oh, well, his championship reign was not legitimate. So, Logano was basically bitching and moaning like a little bitch. But of course, what else is new? Let's see if, let's see if we can find it. I'm going to see if I can find this because championship. Maybe it's no, it's in. Okay, I think I found it. And of course, this was after he won the championship. So let's listen to this fucking nonsense.
The only reason why they don't say this about other sports is because they didn't change the playoff system. But the playoff system in other sports is not much different than what this is. You can have a great regular season. It seeds you better for the playoffs, right? Now, that doesn't mean you're guaranteed to go all the way to the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup Finals or the NBA Finals. It doesn't matter. It might help you. And it's the same way in NASCAR, the way we have the rules now, is that you set yourself up much better, right? You look at the way we came into the playoffs versus the 5, the 45, those guys that scored 15 playoff points for winning the regular season championship. That's 3 wins worth of points in 3 races. That's hard to make up that amount of points. And they have the same opportunity to go out there and win and move on to the next round. So for someone to say this isn't real, it's a bunch of bullshit, in my opinion. That's wrong. This is something that everyone knows the rules when the season starts. And, we figured out how to do it the best and figured out how to win. It's what our team's been able to do for the last 3 years. So I don't like people talking that way. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't like people talking that way. Yeah, well, here's a news flash, Jolie Fuckano. That's just something you're going to have to get used to. Because whether you like it or not, we're going to have our own fucking opinion about how stupid this fucking format is. And say, well, everybody, everybody, knows what the rules are at the beginning of the year. Yeah, no fucking shit, idiot. That's not the fucking problem. Like, Jesus Christ, do you need me to go get you some fucking knee pads so you can gargle NASCAR's ball sack a little more? God, what a fucking retard this guy is. Like, literally, this is NASCAR's fucking reigning champion, and he's a complete and total fucking idiot. But of course he's going to defend the playoffs, because here's the fact of the matter. Without the playoffs, he wouldn't be a 3-time champion. Hell, he wouldn't even be a 1-time champion, believe it or not. He wouldn't have any fucking championships whatsoever without this piece of shit fucking playoff format. So of course he's going to suck this playoff format's ball sack. And yeah, people are going to fucking question it, Logano, because we say, well, yeah, we did it the best. It's like, yeah, well, you fucking pretty much sandbagged the entire fucking year. And this stupid ass format allows for that. Which is why the winning you're in is about the most retarded fucking bullshit I've ever seen in my fucking life. I mean, think about this, folks. His average finish for this year was 17.1. Last year, Ryan Blaney had the worst average finish of any champion in NASCAR history at a 14.1. Logano completely blew that out of the water. 17.1. That is a worse average finish than the number of competitors that can get into the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. And yet, you have all these fucking idiots online that want to try to justify this bullshit. What are they going to say when we eventually get a fucking champion that has an average finish in the 20s? A 20th place average finish. Because we're heading in that direction. NASCAR is heading in that direction. And Logano said, well, us at Penske, we figured it out the last 3 years. Yeah, about that. I'm honestly starting to wonder if Roger Penske is the guy that's influencing NASCAR into keeping this playoff format, because there were some rumors going around not too long ago that he was going to try to institute a playoff format in IndyCar. Fucking idiots. I got people outside setting off fireworks because it's New Year's Eve. God. Well, anyway. Um, See, that made me lose my entire fucking train of thought. Um, God damn it. Um, I'm trying to remember what my train of thought was. But yeah, having a win and you're in. Oh yeah, I was talking about Roger Penske. Yeah, I honestly wonder if he's been the reason why NASCAR stayed with the playoff format. Because there were rumors going around that he was going to institute a playoff format in IndyCar, of all fucking things. I honestly wonder if he's the one that's been influencing it this whole time. And of course, he's going to want to keep it. I mean, he's won the cup. His teams have won the fucking cup title the last 3 years. So it would. Honestly, nothing would surprise me at this point. Nothing would surprise me. But anyways, let's get into the next topic because this caused quite a stir online, to say the least. Yeah, so apparently NASCAR is looking to use AI, artificial intelligence, uh, I guess for certain things next year. Did I download the thingamajig for it? Yeah, more people setting off fireworks. Like, Jesus. Oh, bear with me, folks. This computer's a piece of shit. I need a new computer. That goes without saying. Is this it? It would be this about the AI, I believe. No, that's different. Fuck. Well, that's about the plow format. So I guess I haven't downloaded it yet. Alright, give me 1 second. I'm going to turn that off for just a second. Because that's the next topic we're going to be talking about, to say the least. And your question, what are 5 things you want to see happen in NASCAR in 2025? How about a change of the fucking format? Go. And I know you guys can hear that because I can see the mic saturation go off every time there's a fucking boom. So I know y'all can hear that. Alright, so this one. Yep, here we go. Alright, so here's what Steve O'Donnell had to say about potentially using AI to make changes to the playoff format. And this is kind of what got a lot of people in a bit of a tizzy. Just around racing, the strategy that now goes into a race, how that applies to our formats of the future, I think AI can play a really big role in that. When we created even the stages or playoff format, you did that with the best data you had and best minds you had, but now being able to plug in and work with AI in terms of, okay, if you tweak the playoffs this way, what should we be watching out for, or how could that affect the sport? There's so much data and technology out there that you can now throw into a model. I think it's going to be very helpful in looking at some predictive analysis of where the sport can go in the future, and then there's the whole business side of things too. So, apparently, they want to start using AI in a lot of different facets. And needless to say, there's a lot of people that are not a fan of AI whatsoever. And this caused everyone to kind of get up in arms about it, saying, yeah, they called us bots, and then they're going to use a bot. You know, it's like, I mean, personally, I don't know if it's that big of a deal, but, you know, on the other hand, it's like using AI to determine how to change the playoff format. I mean, it's like, yeah, let's not listen to the people that have been clamoring for a change to this format for the last 10 fucking years. But speaking of the playoff format, you know, they kept saying that, oh, we're gonna, you know, probably do some tweaks to the playoff format, and then, you know, you see this from Steve O'Donnell. Yeah, I wouldn't put a percentage on it. What I would say is that we'll have an industry working group that will take a look and is already taking a look at the playoffs. The great thing about our system is that this evolved through discussions with the industry. Everyone had input to the product. Yeah, okay, sure. In the format that you see today, and that will continue. We'll look at different ideas, and if we can make tweaks to enhance it, we certainly will do that, but we're not going to do it unless we feel like it's in the best interest of the sport and really drives even more engagement from our fans. I mean, if that's the case, then why even bother say that you're going to change anything at all? Because it's pretty clear that, you know, you don't want to change a fucking thing. You want to keep it as it is, and you say, you know, engagement from the fans. Dude, people are about fucking fed up with this shit. Okay, and you know, you pretty much lost some people when it came to what happened at Martinsville with the whole race manipulation bullshit. You know, and then you brought, you know, as usual, you brought the fucking Jamoke out, Elton Sawyer, to try to do damage control. You say, well, we'll take a look at it afterwards, and you know, it's like, it doesn't really matter because at that point, the damage has already been done. And even then, you didn't even penalize the right fucking people. And the people that you did penalize, I mean, the penalties were pretty much fucking worthless. Literally did not change a fucking thing. And then they have the unmitigated gall to try to come out and say that they don't have an officiating problem. If that was the case, one second. Sorry about that. Um, but I mean, if that was the case, about you not having a officiating problem, then why did you have Elton Sawyer come out and try to explain bullshit in pretty much after a third of your cup races? You know, because that's the thing that fucking irritated me was the fact that we don't have an officiating problem. It's and y'all wonder why. Y'all fucking wonder why I've given up covering this shit. Why I've given up doing race reviews. Because this company is nothing but a fucking headache. Give me 1 second. I gotta do something here real quick. Sorry about that. Had to take a quick trip to the bathroom. Um, but yeah. I mean, I honestly wouldn't put too much stock into the AI thing, but honestly, I honestly wouldn't put too much stock in NASCAR anyways, because until their whole stuff fucking changes, there's honestly no point in investing in this company anymore. All right, so with that out of the way, there's one final topic to talk about, and it's the meat and potatoes of this episode. So let's get into it. So, couple things. The original judge assigned to this case, this antitrust lawsuit, actually removed himself from the case because apparently there was, I think there was something going around that he was related to somebody who worked for NASCAR. So he kind of, I think that's the reason why he excused himself from the case, from the lawsuit. Not entirely 100% sure if that's true or not, but if that's the case, that could be seen as, conflict of interest, which could cause some problems later on. So there's a new judge. I think his name is Kenneth D. Bell, I believe it is. But he actually granted the preliminary injunction to 2311 and Front Row Motorsports. Which is good news because, for one thing, as I'll show you in a minute, I don't know if I showed this in a previous episode, but Riley Herbst is going to 2311 Racing in 2025. Driving the number 35 car for 2311 in the Cup Series. So there was that. But the big reason why 2311 and Front Row Motorsports got their injunction was mainly due to several driver contracts that 2311 had, mainly with Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick. Apparently, in Tyler Reddick's case, there was a clause in his contract that required him to be contracted to a team that has a charter. And because 2311 hadn't signed the charter agreement, they technically did not have charters for 2025. So is this it? No, I showed that earlier. I believe it's this one. Yep. Kenneth E. Bell, U.S. District Court Judge. The court finds that NASCAR possesses monopsony power in the relevant market, which is the market for premier stock car racing teams in the United States. NASCAR's Cup Series is the only premier stock car racing series in the U.S., and premier stock car racing is a distinct form of automobile racing with unique cars and highly specialized racing teams for which other types of motorsports like Formula One and IndyCar are not substitutes. Therefore, NASCAR fully controls which race teams can compete at the highest level of stock car racing. Effectively, it has a 100% market share. Yeah, NASCAR kind of fucked themselves by having this car basically be one of a kind. Because on the one hand, while it's unique in the auto racing world, on the other hand, you can only use this car in the Cup Series. So, yeah, they kind of screwed the pooch on that one. And then 2311 and Front Row released this statement. We welcome today's decision by Judge Bell to deny NASCAR's motion to stay, which will allow 2311 and Front Row Motorsports to compete as charter teams in the 2025 season and enable Front Row Motorsports to complete their purchase of a third charter from Stewart-Haas Racing. Today's decision represents an important step in advancing my client's case against NASCAR and their monopolistic practices while protecting their drivers, race team sponsors, and the fan experience. We are confident in the strength of our case and will continue this fight for a more competitive and fair sport for everyone involved in the coming year. And here's the thing: NASCAR actually ended up appealing this ruling. And basically, they tried to reiterate the same points that they did the previous time. And there was some documentation stating that, NASCAR was like, well, you can't really sue us because of the fact that, you couldn't really sue us under the previous charter because you're a member of that charter. And you can't sue us because, you haven't signed the new charter. And Judge Bell was like, well, that's a catch-22 and it's probably illegal. Let me see if I can find it. Because it's in these documents somewhere. Let me see if it's this one. So here's where they got the preliminary injunction. Now, therefore, it is ordered that plaintiff's motion for preliminary injunction is granted in part as described above. The court hereby enters a limited preliminary injunction only for the duration of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. So that's the other thing. This is only for the duration of the 2025 season. And the defendants must allow the plaintiffs to each enter 2 race cars in all NASCAR Cup Series races under the 2025 charter agreement. But it'll allow 2311 and Front Row Motorsports to continue the lawsuit. This one is. All right, so here's where the catch-22 is. Let me stretch the screen. All right, so antitrust violation is, according to defendants, put in a classic catch-22. The team must accept the 2025 charter agreement, including the release that bars plaintiffs' antitrust claims, but if it doesn't sign the charter agreement, then it can't bring those same antitrust claims because it doesn't hold a charter. Again, the NCAA is an apt analogy. Could the NCAA just say to all prospect student athletes they can't play unless they agree to release the NCAA from antitrust liability? Of course not. NASCAR's release to race requirement simply doesn't pass muster and is likely to be found to violate antitrust law. Ooh. This is coming from Judge Kenneth Bell, which means that if, I'm pretty sure the other teams are paying attention to this. What could possibly happen if the other teams decided to join this lawsuit? Because now this judge is saying, this release from antitrust lawsuits by NASCAR may not be legal in these charter agreements. So now the kind of question is, do the other teams join 2311 and Front Row Motorsports in this lawsuit to put pressure on NASCAR to make changes? Because, that would be huge. This is a huge win for 2311 and Front Row Motorsports. And of course, you have, the same dumb motherfuckers on Twitter trying to defend NASCAR, saying, oh, this is unjust and it's classless. And it's just like, you are a bunch of fucking dick-sucking mongrels. Like, you have no idea how important this is to the teams. Because without the teams, there is no fucking NASCAR, you bunch of fucking retards. I swear, this fan base is about the dumbest fucking fan base in all of sports. And that goes without saying. So NASCAR appealed and it was denied. So the next step that they'll take is they'll have to take it to the Fourth Circuit. The Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals. And then if it's denied, then they would have to go to the Supreme Court. So, but also breaking, as part of this, Front Row Motorsports did acquire their third charter, and 2311 was also in the process of getting one as well, and NASCAR decided to expedite that process to, get the appeal ready to go. Take it to the fourth circuit of appeals, fourth court circuit of appeals, whatever the fuck it's called. Basically, it's higher up. It's basically the level below the Supreme Court. So obviously, this is not done by any stretch of the imagination. This is going to be an ongoing story all through 2025. But this is a step in the right direction for the race teams. It's a huge win. And I'll have to see if they can keep it going because, honestly, the future of this fucking sport depends on 2311 and Front Row winning this lawsuit. Because if NASCAR can just continue to do whatever the fuck it wants without, any care in the world, then there's honestly no hope for this company or this fucking sport. And I'm talking specifically about the sport of stock car racing. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So where do we go from here? Well, that's a good question. Obviously, this lawsuit, like I said, I mean, it's in the infantile stages. Like, this lawsuit is, I mean, I would be shocked if something is done by the end of at the end of 2025. I mean, if this thing goes all the way to court and, they have to go to trial and all that other shit and there's discovery and all that shit, I wouldn't expect this lawsuit to be complete until 2026, honestly. Because this is not exactly something that gets done in a single year, usually. Especially high profile, lawsuits like this one is. Because this isn't fucking, this isn't a case where you have players, suing a team or whatever the case may be. No, this is two organizations competing in the Cup Series that are suing the sanctioning body. And this isn't like in the past, where they could say, well, they'll just run out of money. No, Michael Jordan, he's got fuck you money. And I'd be willing to bet he's going to do whatever it takes to get shit done. Because, he's a Hall of Fame basketball player, but he's a longtime NASCAR fan. And he probably feels the same way a lot of us do, in that he doesn't like the direction this company is going in right now. So hopefully this will spark some fucking change at long last in this company. Because Lord knows it needs it in the worst possible way. Oh shit. I forgot to put in an outro. Well, that sucks. Yeah, shows how on the fly this is. But that's going to do it for this edition of Burnt Rubber. Obviously, a lot of shit to talk about in this episode. That's why I went live. And we'll see where it goes from here as we head into 2025. There will be a new intro for this show and a new overlay. I'm going to change it up a little bit. Make it a little bit better because this one honestly kind of sucks. And the intro also kind of sucks. It's just something I came up with on the fly. But I'll do something different for 2025. So thank you very much for watching this edition of Burnt Rubber. And until next time, this is the PackerMan signing out, and Happy New Year. Hey, what's happening, ladies and germs? This is the PackerMan letting you know that tonight's video was sponsored by Reaper Apparel Company. By clicking on the affiliate link down below in the description box, you'll be able to browse through many of their different wares, such as hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and other cool items. When you place an order and you go to checkout, be sure to type in the code PackerMan and you'll be able to save 10% off of your order. Reaper Apparel Company. Apparel to die for. Hey, ladies and germs, just want to say thank you for watching tonight's video. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and also be sure to check out my second channel, Isaac the Survivalist. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.